All right, we're gonna jump in, man.
Yes, sir.
So first up, just want to say welcome back to another episode of Klyph Notes. It's kind of like a monthly podcast, and it's a dope opportunity to hopefully bring you conversations with people who I'm into, who are doing good things for their community and their careers, and you can catch it on pretty much anywhere you any podcast catcher. So if you're listening to this on iTunes and then you're ready to make the transition over to a real phone system and to become an Android user, then you can subscribe on iTunes. You can subscribe on Google. You can subscribe on Stitcher. Some other things that are in the works. But the easiest thing to do is to just go to the website djklyph.com, and there's links to everything right there, so you can definitely jump on that way. Shout out to X-Ray FM. You can catch me every Saturday night right here in Portland from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bring you the very best from the Northwest in local hip-hop and all of the underplayed underground hip-hop. Just number good music, good conversation. And then every last Thursday of the month, you can check me out. I'm over at Mic Check doing my thing over there with Star Child, Trox Diesel. We have some really good things brewing over there. We've had some amazing, by the time you hear this, we will have had Team Backpack in Portland doing the Portland Cypher. So it's going to be, we're just growing things, man. Just really excited for that. And then, of course, you can connect with me all over social media at DJ Klyph, at DJKLYPH. So I was looking back at the last time. Well, actually, I guess the first time that we really had a conversation, it was like 2012. I was like, wow, that's been a minute. So before I go any further, let everybody know who's here, man.
This is Matt Nelkin, Liquid Beat Records.
That's what's up. That's my dude. How you doing, V?
Man, I'm doing great.
Thank you so much for being here, bro.
I'm, as always, just very appreciative that you reach out and have an opportunity to have a conversation.
For sure, man. It's funny because I was again kind of looking back at how you and I connected and sort of how I got to know who you were and what you were doing and sort of where things are now, how things have grown. But like you mentioned, Liquid Beat Records, that's probably a good place to start. Although I think I got to know who you were a little bit before Liquid Beat Records. So we'll kind of jump around a little bit, but let everybody know, what is Liquid Beat Records?
Liquid Beat Records is a Portland-based record label. Just trying to focus on music that I feel passionately about as much as possible, put it on a physical format, just coming from a vinyl DJ perspective. So as much as we can, putting stuff out on record. We've put out a couple cassettes and whatnot, but trying to focus on hip-hop and R&B, some funk and soul releases as well. Yeah. Anything that I would want to keep in the crate as a DJ.
Word. And I saw that listed somewhere, and I thought, you know what, that is one of the cool things about what you do at the record label and the people who are associated with them. We're going to name drop here in a second.
Yes.
But it is dope that it's a record label that really speaks to the DJ, because it's run by a DJ, started by a DJ, which is really cool, man.
We try. I mean, even in, when we're making music and trying to think of formatting and song structure and all of those things, I can tell you, even from behind the scenes, like, okay, what would a DJ enjoy about the intro here? Would it be better this way, better this way? So always trying to keep that in mind.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So I've been really trying to connect with the Portland music scene. I probably really started, let's just say, 12, 14 years ago, right? And maybe a little bit earlier than that. But at any rate, kind of looking around, seeing what was happening. And there was an event that I used to really dig going to at a spot in Portland called The Fix. Mm-hmm. So dope, man. I mean, just a good night of music, great DJs, and then amazing guest DJs, guest performers. It was such a really, really good, good event. And then kind of getting to know some of the DJs who were associated with that. So DJ Kez, Omega Watts, Dun Diggy, Rep Shines. I mean, just a crazy night of music. So like, all right.
Ronan Rock.
And then Ronan Rock hosting the event.
Mm-hmm.
Just Rona's a dude, man. Another X-Ray FM DJ, good dude. It's like, all right, so this is dope. So kind of checking that out, and then really getting to know Kez and 360 Vinyl was one of my favorite spots to go and just hang. And it is no longer, but it was a dope record spot, a dope hangout spot. You never know who you see when you walk through there. And then heard about another event that was going on called Rockbox.
Rockbox.
And Rockbox was Kez,
Me,
and Dundiggy, right?
That was the original 3, yeah.
Okay. So what was Rockbox, man? So for people who never had an opportunity to...
Well, the Fix and Rockbox came around, almost simultaneously.
Yeah.
And Rockbox was kind of the big room dance version, I would say.
Okay.
And I think all 3 of us at that specific moment in time when Rockbox came about, we were kind of experimenting with our own tastes.
Yeah.
I know me personally, like I started playing as a DJ faster, more dance orientated music, and that was artistically intriguing to me at the time and expanding my horizons outside of the traditional R&B and hip hop format. And so that was a challenge, and it was also really fun for me to explore other genres that were informed by hip hop and R&B, but also dance music that was coming out at the time.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. And Rockbox went on for a minute.
About 8.5 years.
Yeah. And you guys did some cool events associated with Rockbox, man. And the Portland scene seemed to really, really support what you guys did.
Yeah, we were, very blessed. 8.5 years. I always equate club years like dog years. So,
right.
So I feel good about our run, you know,
yeah.
and I'm very appreciative of the support that we got from, the Portland nightlife scene and from Holocene, where it was located, and the ownership there and all their support over the years, and the guest DJs that we had.
Yeah.
We started opening up a lot more. Dundee stepped aside and took on his new moniker, Hot 16, and focused in more on production, and he's an integral part of Liquid Beat Records.
Yeah.
But when he stepped aside, we started bringing in a lot more guests. Just very appreciative of everybody who supported Rockbox over the years.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So then somewhere along the way, I introduced myself to you and just kind of started building over the years. And you've always been so had such an open and welcoming spirit about you. I remember at one point, yeah, man, absolutely. And that's real. I remember at one point I came to you to talk to you about some business stuff, and you were like, yeah, come on over, and shared with me sort of the idea of putting out a record and like broke it down for me, like, this is the process, and this is how you can go about doing this and go about doing that.
Oh yeah.
And really sort of share with me your experience. Talk about Liquid Beat Records. Where did that idea come from to, I want to start a record label?
Well, we had a couple of releases. Actually, the first vinyl experience that I ever went through was a Rockbox promotional record. We, at the time, we had only played vinyl during our sets, and so we would do live blends, and that was bigger back then too. We would do live blends while we were DJing Rockbox, and so we wanted to take some of those and put them on record for ourselves and as well as for other DJs to play. And that was our first experience going through the process of semi-production, taking somebody else's acapella and someone else's beat and putting them together, maybe doing a little added production, and also going through the process of reaching out to, record pressing plants and all of those types of things. And so that was our first record that was pressed. And then I personally put out another record prior to Liquid Beat Records, the Boom Bap Rhythms.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that, man.
And that was a very similar thing, although it was a little bit more of a hyper focused on, kind of that era of early mid 90s dance hall lyrics over really traditional kind of classic boom bap hip hop beats.
Yeah.
And so that was my homage to that era of time, which I really love.
Yeah.
And then, just the idea of wanting to put out not blends, not remixes, but actually original music. And I have to, really credit my partner Desiree for her influence on that and really pushing me to take the next step, not just thinking about it, not just wishing about it, but taking the step to get the paperwork done and get the LLC and all of those types of things. And so she was a big influence in pushing me to do that.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, going from kind of spinning on a regular basis as a DJ to actually creating a record label, what did that do in terms of creativity for you, switching energies and?
That's a good question. I mean, at the time I was also doing my own radio show, and I had to work time around to balance everything, do the radio show, do Rockbox and coordinate and organize Rockbox, promote Rockbox, DJ Rockbox, be up on a Friday night till 3:30 in the morning after working all week and all of that stuff. At some point that just became a lot to invest in, and so I cut a lot of that out, some by choice, some by Rockbox was discontinued, not by choice, but I did step aside from my radio responsibilities at KPSU and also KLCC in Eugene, and now Liquid Beat Records is kind of my sole focus musically for that creative output.
That's what's up. But you still spin every once in a while.
Every once in a while,
one-offs, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love DJing. I love and I'll put together mixes and I'll put them online and whatnot. And so I love DJing. I love music. I stay up on it. I still check for all the new records that come out every day. I'm looking on all of the websites and going to the local record stores. Shout out to Future Shock, Clinton Street Records, and I still love it, and if I'm given the opportunity to do so, I will do a good job of DJing. But it's not my main focus.
That's what's up. I just sort of as an aside, I just realized, do you have any copies of Boom Bap Rhythms on vinyl left?
I have a personal stash of about 3 or 4, I think.
All right, we're gonna have to talk when I turn the microphone off, because I'm ashamed to say that's one that I do not have, man. I definitely have my Liquid Beat section in the house.
Word.
Of the stuff that you guys put out, man. And
the funny thing is, it doesn't come up for sale either.
Is that right?
Yeah, on the used market. I haven't seen it yet.
That's because nobody wants to get rid of it, man. People are holding
I
on to
hope
that
that's the case. I hope that's the case.
That's what's up. So then, when people sort of follow the process of what you've done with what you and I-16 have done with Liquid Beat Records, man. I mean, you guys have done some really cool things.
Thank you.
In terms of varying your releases, and then it's easy to say the quality that you guys put out just because I dig so much of what you guys do. But as a curator myself and having a radio show, I mean, I love to see when you guys are going to release something, because it's so easy to add that into what I'm playing.
Word.
And know that it's just going to be such good quality music. And then to look at people that you connect with, man. It's just, you guys are doing a really, really great thing, man.
Thank you. I mean, we try to have great quality control.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's essential. I think all the local labels do a great job of that, of really having great quality music and not letting something slip through that doesn't meet the standards.
Yeah. And that's to be, I mean, and that's one of the things that I think is really neat to see right now in Portland is that there are a number of labels who are coming together and looking at doing things as a real label, looking at not just releasing things digitally, but looking at trying to package physical copies of whether it be cassette or 7-inch or 12-inch or full albums, to be a label in Portland right now in this time where the Portland scene is looking kind of nice right now.
It really does.
And for you guys to, as a label, to kind of be right there at the center of it and have been doing it for a while and building to the place where you are right now has got to feel good.
It feels all right. I mean, I'm always looking towards the future.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to take stock of things that we've done.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about the next project. I think some of that is also being on the inside. You have 5-6 projects going at once, and there's constant communication around those things. It's like, oh, what's coming out? Like, what needs what? And
Right.
so yeah, something drops at the exact same time. You're thinking about 4 or 5 other things that are in the works.
No doubt. Do you have? I would imagine when you're creating music, it's like anything that you create, you put your heart and soul into that, and then you put it out there, and you watch it do whatever it does.
Mm-hmm.
And is it too difficult to sort of at this stage? Now, I'm not even going to ask what your favorite is, but a project maybe that you put out there that was that was impactful, maybe because it did something that you didn't realize it was going to do, or maybe it didn't do what you thought it was going to do, and that impacted sort of your journey in a different way.
I don't know if this is a cop out, but I really have felt good about our last 2 releases.
Okay.
Libretto's Gangster Jazz 2, I thought turned out amazing. I think it's fantastic hip hop for 2016.
Yep.
Obviously, the sound is not necessarily indicative of this time period. I mean, it's certainly referential to the sampled sound of 90s hip hop. Although I wouldn't use the term throwback personally, but other people have.
Right.
But I thought that project in and of itself turned out great, and I thought the reception was fantastic to it. The videos turned out great. So I've been very, very pleased with the overall, like I said, the reception to that, and just how that album came out. The artwork turned out fantastic. And then our newest vinyl release, the Street Player EP. And I think what was incredibly gratifying about that was, unlike a lot of our other projects where you're just kind of creating and then you look around and you have this material and you piece it together in a meaningful, cohesive way.
Yeah.
The Street Player EP was done with a lot of intention towards what the outcome would be. You know, as a concept of doing different covers of one song and having them be varied, and having all the producers that we work with too was really meaningful on one project. Kind of a crew representation of everybody's talents and tastes.
Right.
And that feels really good to me, to have this vision, enact that vision, have it come to fruition, and feel really confident in the product that it turned into.
Oh man, chopping up with Matt Nelkin, Liquid Beat Records. That's one of the things that I thought was really cool about this project was, you know, just as you said, it is truly an example of who's really doing Liquid Beat right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool, because I think the project in and of itself is really dope. The idea behind the project is really dope. But then for people maybe who are a little unfamiliar with Liquid Beat, it gives people an opportunity to see like what's coming from Liquid Beat, because the production is a bit diverse. I mean, you get well, first off, let's run down the producers, right? So we got Hot 16. We got who worked on this project.
Oh yeah.
We got
Ron. Yep.
We got Ron Namu, and then we got Dane.
Yep.
And then yourself.
Yeah.
And when you play, it's so dope, because I'll play all different mixes, just sort of based on what's happening on the show.
And that's perfect. That was the intent. I mean, the fact that you say that to me makes me feel great, because that's what I would hope would happen.
Right.
You know, that a DJ would keep that in the record bag, and have, you know, whatever flavor is being presented and however the mix is going at that particular time, I can play a version of this song that's going to fit in.
Right. That's what's up, man. and again, it's cool for me to see that because I think all four of you individually as producers, pretty much anything you put out, I'm gonna be like, yo, that's I gotta cop that for sure. And so to see all four of you on a project like that is really really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I'm incredibly blessed to have the opportunity to work with those guys. I mean, all of them are so incredibly talented and
Yeah.
have their own artistic interests.
Yeah.
You know, it's great.
Um, the collaboration between you and Hot 16. I mean that started with doing live sets, essentially doing stuff like Rockbox and
Yeah,
okay.
Rockbox and the Fix. I mean, you know, there was a long stretch of time where Rockbox was pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, Kez, and Dundiggy, and we didn't have any guests really, and we just showed up with our records, and
Yeah.
you know, we did our best to keep the dance floor moving and have a live party, and
Yeah.
and at that point in time,
Yeah.
you know, that was enough
Yeah.
to keep the party moving.
Right. It's crazy. So then, as someone who, not directly related to the label, maybe, but as someone who has been in Portland, been a part of the Portland music scene, and we look now to 2016, going into 2017, and you see what's happening in the Portland music scene. Like, do you have an opinion on that? Do you feel any kind of way about? I mean, and I don't mean good or bad, just any kind of way about what you see now.
I feel that I'm inspired by the energy of the musicians, rappers, singers that are younger than me. I mean, what I see from what the Thesis is doing and what Mic Check is doing and all of the albums that are coming out. I mean, there's so much talent. Not all of it speaks to me personally, artistically, and that's totally fine.
Right.
It doesn't need to. It wasn't necessarily made for me, but at the same time, like, I check for it all, and I feel like there's this really amazing creative wellspring and energy, and you know, as much as possible, as much as I can, I would like to be a part of it in my own humble way.
Well, I think to me the exciting thing is that there is that there are different, like you said, there are different energies out there that do speak to different people, and I think that's, you could almost make the case that in a sense that's something that had been missing because now I think you have people who are comfortable enough doing what they do that you have so many different flavors. And I think that makes the scene as a whole that much stronger.
I would totally agree.
So I agree. I mean, so it's cool to see that.
I mean, going way back, I grew up in Eugene, Oregon, and we would have these local shows, Northwest Lyrical Fest.
Okay.
And there would be tons of local acts on there.
Yeah.
And they're of all different genres.
Yeah.
And man, I loved going to those events.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so inspiring to see all of these different people come together, and there's just a very cohesive time. Now everybody was super competitive, and you know, I'm sure everybody was like, oh, you know, they're not as good as us, and whatnot. But it pushed everybody to be better at their craft.
Right. And I think you can make the case that that's what you want, right? I mean, you want to see areas of, well, that's what you should want. You want to see areas of what you do that you can improve on to be better at what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Chopping up with Matt Nelkin, Liquid Beat Records. You know, the obvious question is coming, you know, which is what's next. But I wanna go back again, and so we talked about your connect with Hot 16. Then you and Ronamu, where did that connect come from?
That also came through Kez and 360 Vinyl and just that whole sphere of influence. Ron worked with Kez at 360 Vinyl, and you know, we became closer via that connection. Just love of records, love talking about records, similar artistic inclinations, you know, in terms of the type of music that that we both enjoy. He put out some amazing mixes. I mean, he still does. I mean, he's not only a great producer, he's also an amazing DJ.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody hasn't heard his mixes, I would encourage people to look up his mixes online and check those out. And he released a beat album, which was not only were the beats great and kind of in line with what I enjoy, but also he put it together as a continuous mix, like a DJ mix of his own production. And, you know, that was kind of, I would say, my real introduction to his artistic production work.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about his production is that he's one of those artists that as soon as the beat drops, you're like, that's a Roan joint right there.
Yep.
Which is so cool because I think even when you go back and listen to older mixes, he has that sound.
He has this sound.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's, I mean, you think about some of your favorite producers.
Right.
What is one of the things about them? They have a sound. And so that's,
and you know what's crazy is his on the Street Player EP. I mean, it's house music. I mean, his mix is a house song.
Yeah.
And it still sounds like
dope.
him.
Yeah, which is so dope. Which is so dope. So once again, you see the connect with 360 Vinyl. So, Kaz, if you out there listening, Cat, man, just let you know that you're missed. I know you're still out there doing your thing.
Absolutely,
definitely missed 360. So then, you know, to see some of the work that you and Hot 16 and Roan did, some of the other projects that were released, man, there's some stuff that you guys put out that was really, really good, man.
Thank you.
There's some the project that Roan did with Reba DeVito.
Yes.
That was amazing. The original and then the deluxe version you guys dropped, man. The idea about those folk coming together, was that just something that was organic, or was that something?
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest with you, I had the least amount to do with any of that creative process or them, you know, coming together. I stepped in, you know, way after the fact. That project had been released free online, and I think when we saw the reception, you know, I had thought about talking to them beforehand about doing something with Liquid Beat, and it just didn't pan out. And then afterwards, kind of the idea of putting it on vinyl, since it was a free release, that's where the deluxe idea kind of spawned, which was, okay, this exists as its own thing already as a project that's free online, and then if we're going to reintroduce it as this vinyl project, what can we do to make it somewhat newer? And that's where adding the 2 songs came in, and also reaching out to Tony Ozier and Tall Black Guy to remix some songs.
Such an amazing project, man.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of people, their entry point into Liquid Beat Records is that release, so I'm incredibly grateful to have that opportunity to partner with them to put out the deluxe version.
There's some other music that's out there that you guys released. That there's some 7-inches that are out there that are just so dope that people just need to go check. I'm just gonna leave that just like that. So now obviously, aside from being a fan of you as a human being, I'm a huge fan of the label. I'm following the label. Whenever I see something is about to drop, I'm going to cop it.
Thank you.
You know, always playing stuff on the show. You know, championing the record label whenever I can, and then, you know, continuing to build with the community, and a person who I've developed a friendship with, who's a great producer here in Portland, who's done like some amazing work that I'm so glad is now actually starting to work again. And then I look up and I'm like, and I don't remember I remember who shared it with me first, and I'm like, wait, you gonna start producing with Liquid Beat?
Mm-hmm.
Dang,
Oh man,
dude, where did that connect come from?
he hit me up. He just hit me up about playing me some tracks.
Yeah.
I think it was around the time that 1983 Hot 16's 1983 EP was coming out, and he hit me up about just wanting to play me some beats and some unreleased tracks, and we got together. And actually, I think it was Hot 16, myself, and then Dane came through, and Dane was just playing tracks off his phone.
Yeah.
And I think Hot 16 and I looked at each other, and we were just like, okay, we have to do something.
Right.
We have to try and make something happen.
Yeah.
And it has been a long,
long
time coming. But actually, matter of fact, we got the masters done to his first official Liquid Beat project. He did the track on the Street Player. He did a remix of Hot 16 and Omega Watts rhythm song.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Which was just digital.
Yeah.
But now we have a 5-song EP that we're gonna be doing a 7-inch. We're gonna for 2 of the songs.
Okay.
And then the total, all 5 tracks will obviously be available digitally. But yeah, incredibly excited to present that to the world because it's really good. It's really good.
It's so cool to see this collection of producers come together to work collaboratively because you're all so good in your own right, in the lanes that you guys operate in. And so to see that come together it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love the variety.
Mm-hmm.
Hot 16 is also working on a new project with Blossom.
A word. That's right. I did hear about that.
Yes.
So, and of course, anybody who's listening to this who's connected, you definitely know who Blossom is, and she's done some great stuff with Neil Von Talley and some of the other producers that she's worked with over
Indeed.
at Ariston. To hear that she's going to be doing stuff with Hot 16, I can't wait.
Actually, she's featured on Dane's project too.
Oh, word?
Yeah. Now that
Okay.
I usually don't talk about these things. Like I get a little uptight talking about things that haven't come to fruition yet. But for some reason, in this particular instance, I feel like when I talk about it, it will bring it to it'll bring it to reality. I that's kind of the opposite of how I usually do things, but in this particular case, that feels right.
No doubt. Well, that's actually really, really cool because I think, Blossom has done a lot in Portland already, but I think you can also consider her newer artists who's coming up, and then to see the stability that you folk have as artists, as a record label, to see that collaboration, I think is real cool, man.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah,
I mean it's rough right now. It's being polished.
Right.
Probably as we speak.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The rough mixes and they all sound great, and I'm excited to see it through to the finish line.
No doubt. So, all right then. We're, like I said, by the time this drops, we may be into November. Heading into 2017. What's coming?
I think those two things, with the vinyl production taking so long,
right.
I mean, those two things might be the first couple to hit in 2017.
That's what's up.
The goal was to get the Dane project out this year.
Yeah.
Still might happen.
Right.
But we'll see what happens with the turnaround time for all of these things. It really does take a long time when you're talking about physical product.
Yeah.
Because we could turn it around, so easy if you have the digital files and you have the artwork and it's ready to go. That's nothing but coordinating with all these other people, and they have their own timelines. It's very difficult to project.
Yeah. But you folks have been consistent with that in terms of wanting to put out vinyl. Does that come from being a DJ?
Oh yeah.
Just having that physical.
Yeah, that's, to me, I would not have the same psychic joy of doing all of this work that's involved in running a label
Yeah.
if we were not able to press it on vinyl.
Yeah.
As much as I love the music in and of itself, I also love records, record culture, record store culture.
Yeah.
All of those things are also very important to me.
Right.
To me, and I think it is generational, and there's no judgment in any of it, but it's my involvement in hip hop and records and all of those things. It's very difficult for me to separate my experience of being involved in digging and looking for new jams and trying to get a jam that no one else has, and I have this. I can't separate that experience from what it feels like to be involved in music.
Right.
And so the idea and the impetus to press the records and the desire and push to do so comes from how intertwined those feelings are.
Right. The sort of with an eye to the future, are there that you can share that you're able to to put out there right now? Are there projects that you hope will come to fruition with local artists maybe that you haven't worked with yet?
I don't think so. Not yet. I think we're really kind of focused on the producers that we're working with currently. I don't think that there's necessarily an energy beyond that.
Yeah.
Now, there's a ton of local artists that I have an immense amount of respect for,
Right.
and that we have worked with and want to continue to work with.
Right.
I think it's all about fit.
Right.
Like for example, like I see someone like Mike Capes killing it. Like
Right.
that guy is an incredible talent.
Right.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to just say, "Hey, Mike, you're super dope.
Right.
Now rap over. Would you be willing to rap over one of these beats?" It might not be the right fit.
Right. Right.
Like I would rather admire and from afar and give him his props.
Yeah.
Let him do his thing. Then just because I'm an admirer doesn't mean that we have to collaborate.
Right. Which is dope because so often that's not the case. People see, oh, this is an opportunity to come together to whatever, to make it to the next level, to reach a wider audience. But to sort of have that focus of this is really what we do. This is the lane that we're in. And we're going to continue to build with people in different capacities, but we're not going to try to force something.
It just has to be right.
Yeah.
If it happened and it was right.
Right.
Obviously,
Right.
like there's an open door policy. I would want, I have so much respect for so many of the musicians and rappers and singers and producers in town. It just has to be right, and it has to be good for everybody involved.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. The thought of having a successful label, putting out projects on a regular basis now. Do you ever get the itch to want to do a regular like monthly again?
That's funny. We were just kind of discussing this, like how much energy we would have towards a monthly or a quarterly or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I think it would be great. I think the stakes are so high right now for what that looks like. I mentioned earlier, when we were doing Rockbox, it was a fairly simple formula.
Yeah.
We got our records together, we did our little promotion.
Yeah.
Fortunately, thankfully, we had Dun Diggy Hot 16 designing for us, which was a huge blessing because he's great on the design. He designed almost all of our Liquid Beat releases as well. Yeah. So that was a huge help. But that, the design, the postering, the flyering, and then we would just get together and DJ at Holocene. Now, what it takes to have a successful night, it's an event. And it's multimedia, and it's all of these other considerations, which is how it should be. I mean, the technology and the interconnectedness and all these things make that possible. So why wouldn't you want to have it go to its natural conclusion?
Right.
I don't know if I have the energy to invest in all of that. I'm still in the mode. If I could show up and play my records and, what I have accumulated and put together, that would be ideal.
Right.
I don't know where that is, and I don't want to sell it short. I don't want to sell audience short or half step it.
Right. That's what's up, man. And see, there again, man. It's another one of the reasons that I so dig watching what you and your crew are doing, because you are so thoughtful and mindful of whatever you're presenting. You're presenting to the highest level, that you want to make sure that the quality is good, whether it's live or whether it's recorded. And I think those are the things that help an artist, a label, a product sort of last, become a classic, potentially become a classic.
I would hope so. I mean, I would like to think that the things that we do are timeless in the sense that you can discover them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to learn about Hot 16's 1983 EP when it came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
If someone were to listen to that for the first time today, I hope that they would still think that it was innovative and fresh and worthy of their time and having their ear for, those 30 minutes.
Yeah. That, we didn't even spend a lot of time even talking about that project. That project in particular was a dope project.
I agree.
It was sort of like it was, I don't know if people really caught it, man. It feels like, at least, I don't know. I mean, as a part of the label, you tell me.
It's so difficult for me to judge.
Yeah.
I think my view is so clouded because I listen to that stuff and we talk about it and we think about it for so long before it actually gets released. It's very difficult for me to kind of judge. But the video that he did with Versatile and Starchild and Allison from the Love Loungers, I that was well received. And it people enjoyed that record. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, people are discovering it online and letting me know. So that's gratifying.
Yeah, no doubt. Hot 16 put out a project earlier this year, Spacesuits.
Yeah, Spacesuit. Yeah,
this year or late last year?
It was late last year.
Last year, yeah. A really dope concept.
Yeah, that was all him.
Yeah,
that was all him.
It's almost hard to describe, man. But you folks released it on cassette.
Yeah.
Spacesuits. It's really. If you read the track list, it all fits. Again, for me, it was sort of one of those things that I looked up and it was there, which is just one of the things that's so cool about what you guys do. But then it's what you spoke to before. Like, you don't really talk about stuff until you're ready to release it.
Exactly. And I don't know if that hurts or helps us. I get worried because there's so many elements involved in, the phrase I used, with the Blossom and Hot 16 was take it to the finish line.
Right.
There's so many steps to get there.
Right.
For some reason, I'm superstitious and I don't want to jinx any point in that process. But I don't, perhaps that's not to our benefit from, only thinking about the music from a promotional standpoint, which I have to think about. I try not to have that take over the equation in my brain when I'm thinking about music. I'd like it to be first and foremost the artistry and, is what we're presenting to the world worthy of people's time and energy. But, we are also trying to sell music and have people be exposed to it. So thinking promotionally, maybe that's not a good strategy.
I can only give you my perspective. My perspective is I follow Liquid Beat Records on Bandcamp. And so when I see that email pop up that there's a new release by Liquid Beat Records that I didn't know was coming, and then it's like I'm anticipating, like, I got to be sure not to be like on you. Yo, Matt, when y'all releasing something, you know what I'm saying? So it's that anticipation of the next. And a part of that, again, goes back to the fact that the work that you guys put out, the people that you've had an opportunity to collaborate with, versatile. Some of these amazing the Love Loungers project. I mean, you've put out such good work that, as a fan of what you're doing, as a fan of good music, I anticipate what's coming next, which is really, really dope.
I mean, I genuinely appreciate that, because I have similar sentiments to a lot of the artists and the labels that I follow. I mean, I do the same, and so to have us be included in that milieu, makes me very happy and humbled.
That's what's up. So we've talked about a lot of these releases that are available for people to go check out, man. Bandcamp is one of my favorite spots.
Oh man,
Bandcamp
is great.
Yeah, exactly. You've got everything most everything is there on your Bandcamp page. Right?
Yes, I believe so.
And it's Bandcamp.com/.
Well, you can actually just go to liquidbeatrecords.com and it will take you right to our Bandcamp page.
That's what's up. And then there's a merch site there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for our physical product.
Yeah. So talk about some of the merch, because I know I have the spacesuits, the spacesuits T-shirt. What are the merch you guys have right now?
It's mainly just the tape and the vinyl.
Okay.
We've experimented with having some slip mats.
Oh, word.
But we have.
Oh, I did see. Yeah. High 16 put that out.
Yeah, I know. He speaking of just dropping things, he just got those printed up and showed me. So, what do you think about this?
Right.
Those look amazing.
Right.
But there's such limited quantities, so they're not up on the Bandcamp.
Okay.
But matter of fact, I was just thinking today. I was thinking that we should probably invest in at least getting a couple more of those, that it would be viable to put them up on Bandcamp as something to sell for the merch.
Again, as a fan of Liquid Beat Records, yes, you absolutely should, man.
I mean, speaking about the connection to the DJ, so I mean, it certainly makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. And then, of course, social media. Liquid Beat Records is on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Twitter.
Yes.
And Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we have a Facebook page that you can hit that like button.
That's what's up.
And then we can pay to access you and let you know about what we're doing.
Right. Once again, seeing the new project that's dropped, the couple of new projects that have dropped, and just that continued process of connecting with amazing artists. I'm looking at the Gangster Jazz Volume 2 cassette right here in my hand. I'm just so happy for you folk that the success that you've had has allowed you to continue to put out more work.
And that's really the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is simply to be self-sufficient so that we can put out more.
Yeah. It's funny, man. As I've worked on creating the process of creating Welcome to the Neighborhood, and you create something, you sort of have this idea. It starts as a little seed and then it grows, and you're influenced by other things. And one of the things that I thought was, you look at, really, what do I want this to be, or what do I want it to sort of feel like?
Mm-hmm.
What is it influenced by? What vibe do I want people to get? And I look at, for the radio show, I look at stuff that Stretch and Bobbito did.
Oh yeah,
like, man,
definitely.
if I could bring just a taste of that feel to the radio show, to sort of carry on.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds crazy, but it sort of carry on the legacy of what they were doing to a certain degree.
I don't think that's crazy at all, because I think that's the example of hip hop radio.
Right.
What does it look like? What does it sound like? And what you were saying, what does it feel like?
Yeah.
So I totally understand that.
So as a record label, what do you look to? What's sort of a bit of a guide for where you've gotten, maybe where you envision yourself going?
I would say some people that have influenced me and kind of the vision for Liquid Beat, I would say Record Breaking.
Yep.
Out of Philadelphia.
Yep.
Junior's a good dude.
Yeah. Had a chance to meet him. I feel like it was at the Fix several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know me from Adam, and was like, "Here's my card."
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even doing radio at that point. I was just a fan of the scene. So yeah, definitely a good dude.
and has continued to be very gracious with me personally and support Liquid Beat and likewise we've supported Record Breaking. Hot 16 did a mix for their ongoing mix series. So just very appreciative to him and the releases that he's put out varied, hip hop, R&B, house, remixes, edits, and he's worked even with some local people, M64, Omega Watts, Reagan, and also Farnell.
That's right. Yeah. I think Farnell shot me that 7-inch that they did,
which sounds great.
Yeah.
I've played that, in some of my online mixes as well. They're an influence. I would say Jazzy Sport out of Japan is a big influence on me.
Yeah.
Their whole aesthetic, again, varied releases by genre, as well as I think one thing that they have that almost by default we have as well is they have their steady crew of producers. DJ Mitsu, as well as Groove Man Spot. I mean, those guys are synonymous with Jazzy Sport. And, for us at this moment in time, Hot 16 and Ronamu are main dudes that we're working with, and that's the team.
No doubt. And
then bringing Dane in,
Yeah, and again, I think that's cool to see that consistency there. That when something drops, you kind of know. I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, Ron mixed the new Dane record.
A word. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm so looking forward to hearing this.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to bringing it to the world, and whoever is open to hearing it.
Exactly. And I think there again, I look at that as here's an artist who as a producer and then as an MC, but definitely as a producer years ago was doing some really great things and sort of took a break from not from making music but from presenting music to people. And now to have the opportunity to connect with a label like Liquid Beat, who you have an audience. You guys are presenting. I mean, you guys are now going to open this channel for the stuff that he's doing, that I think is.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
And also, he's gonna open a channel for, people be open to other Liquid Beat things because he has his fans and his audience. So
Absolutely.
Very grateful just for the collaboration.
Absolutely.
And I think people will be impressed, and I think maybe surprised a little bit because it's 4 out of the 5 songs are R&B songs.
So that's what I didn't know how much you wanted to, because that's what I haven't heard any of the project yet, but I've heard that it's really got an R&B vibe.
Yeah,
which is dope.
I agree.
And it's funny because even listening to the the work that he's done with you folk already, when I heard that I was like, okay, I could hear hearing Dane on some R&B production.
It sounds right.
Yeah,
I will tell you that it sounds right.
I guess because his production already has that soulful sort of feel to it. Man, I am again just so happy for. Well, first of all, just grateful for you to continue to come through. It's so dope for me to be able to just reach out to you like that and have you come through. But I'm so happy for what's happening with the label as a part of this Portland, this local music scene, and excited to see what's going to be coming in 2017. Now, I know you guys did a release party for the EP.
Yeah.
Are they going to continue to build with the locals, let them come in and shake a hand?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. That project was unique because it had all of us involved, so it felt only right. One thing that makes it difficult to do that is that it's really a producer driven label.
Right.
Our work with Libretto is really only the vocalist.
Right.
I'm talking rapper or singer.
Right.
That we've worked closely with.
Yeah.
And I think there's a real benefit there's a easy access point when you have someone who's out front like that, and it makes events and release parties and those things a lot easier, because when we have a release party, it's us getting together and playing records.
Right.
I mean, that's our release party.
Right.
And I think Hot 16 dropped Roan's version of Street Player, and that was the only Liquid Beat song that we played that whole night, because I don't DJ out very much, so I have all these records built up and stored up. I'm like, I gotta play this. I gotta mix this in. I've been sitting on this for 2 months, and I've been itching to play this house record.
Right.
So I better play fast, because I really want to play this song.
This thought just came to mind. I'm gonna plant a seed, because I don't want to put nothing out there. Having just because of his. Well, one, because I'm a fan of his as an MC. Having a project that was produced by the four of you with Libretto would be dope.
That would be dope.
I'm just putting it out there, Libretto. Just saying.
Libretto is dope for many, many reasons. Mm-hmm. One of which is, I feel like he genuinely sounds good on varied styles of production. I would agree. And I would not say that that's true of every MC.
Yeah, absolutely. At the September mic check, Libretto was on the September mic check, and if people missed it, he started his set off. It was Libretto on keys, DJ OG1. Libretto rapping,
mm-hmm.
and he went through a set where he did a little bit of the Gangster Jazz project. He did some of his older stuff, and you're right. And he sounded good on everything, and that's why I think an artist like that on the varied production that you guys have as a label.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
All right, so I've planted the seed now, so I'm expecting to see in the next 8-10 months.
All right.
You mentioned mixes, and that's one of the things that we didn't let people know. You do have some mixes out there, man.
Yeah, not as many as I intended to when I started. I took all my mixes off our SoundCloud page, just because of the way SoundCloud was going, and really wanted to keep that focused on the original content that Liquid Beat is presenting. And put up on Mixcloud and Mixcrate. The intention was to put some more there. Keep that updated more frequently. Liquid Beat projects have taken precedence over, sitting in the studio. As much work as goes into these albums and whatnot, I'm also a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my mixes too. So it's not easy for me to just record something real quick and let it go. I want it to have a certain level of quality, so it takes me a while to put them together, and if I don't have the time, then I don't want to just
throw something out there. Liquid Beat Radio is the mix.
Those are the mixes on
Mixcloud.
Mixcloud and Mixcrate, both. I mean, they have the same content. I think that for me, I was just experimenting, which one of those is going to stick more with people, or are people going to have access to it. It seems about even at this point in terms of where traffic is being directed. So that's why I still maintain both.
So if you go to Mixcloud and search Liquid Beat,
it will show up. Liquid Beat Records, Liquid Beat Radio, Mixcloud, Mixcrate, and I think the mixes are something to listen to.
Mr. Humble guy over here, man. What's out right now, Street Player and Gangster Jazz Volume 2, people can cop that right now.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, the Gangster Jazz Volume 2 is free download.
That's right, man. So definitely go and cop that. And it's such a good. I think it's such a dope idea. The other work that you guys did with Libretto, Gangster Jazz, the original Gangsta Boogie was a single that you guys dropped.
Mm-hmm.
There was
and then also the Stay Focused EP.
Stay Focused EP, which is a joint. Tony Hill, I know, was on that one. Just it's been cool to see the work that you folk have done together, and look forward to some more.
Yeah, I'm grateful to work with Libretto. He has an insatiable appetite to create and have a vision for his product, and to be involved in all phases. Not all artists are like that. And it's refreshing to work with him and his passion and his drive to have his vision executed to the degree that he wants it. And it's nice for me because we both have the same goals and we both have same high standards.
And again, I think it all shows in the product, in the finished product, which is just
Thank you.
Ultimately, what you want.
Absolutely. I mean, it's rejuvenating for me to hear that. I mean, because that's always the goal. But you never know how it's. You don't always know how it's received.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Matt Nelkin, Liquid Beat Records. Shout out to the whole crew, man. Ron Namu, who I haven't had a chance to connect with in a minute. Hot 16. Go check out their Spacesuits project. Is dope. The homie Dane, of course, and Matt Nelkin, the whole Liquid Beat Records crew, man. Like I said, so happy for you guys. So grateful to have you here in Portland, and just see the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you, appreciate it. Hopefully, we are able to add our own little piece of what everybody else is doing. Just one part of the larger whole. And what you spoke on previously, kind of, what's happening in the city currently. I would say to anybody who's listening, just keep doing what you're doing, because even if I'm not out at the show or haven't shaken your hand yet, it is inspiring to see people putting out music and speaking their truths and being creative. It's all there is an energy that everybody is feeding off of, myself included, Liquid Beat included. And so, I would encourage everybody, just keep creating and being yourself and putting it out there to the world.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Matt Nelkin, man. Follow him all over social media, but definitely check out the website, liquidbeatrecords.com. Oh, man, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you. Genuinely appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. And stay connected, because you'll if not on a future episode of Klyph Notes, I'll definitely tie Matt down and get him back on Welcome to the Neighborhood.
We'll get Dane in here when his project drops.
That goes without saying. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Once again, man, stay tuned. Welcome to the Neighborhood on X-Ray FM. Subscribe to Klyph Notes Podcast wherever you subscribe to your podcasts. You can comment, share them with everybody, and we're continuing to look for building the audience. And so, as we do that, we can continue to bring you great content, like conversations with this cat from Liquid Beat Records. God bless you until we get an opportunity to do this again. Y'all be blessed. Peace.